Today on the Topping Show, the Honda Prelude advanced to prototype status. Democrats are against deporting gang members. Texas marks March 23rd as Pakistan Day. And Hyundai is canceling their iconic 3-year free maintenance plan. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see, that's a joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase. And it does come with a fun Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15, like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more and to see me using the Flamethrower. Lastly, try to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have the Honda Prelude advancing to prototype status, and it already has a boring interior. It looks oddly reminiscent to the Honda Civic. Because, yeah, spoiler alert, a lot of the parts are being shared, which, yeah, is it's pretty common. I mean, half the Nissan Z is pretty much the 370Z, but nevertheless, this is even more disappointing considering it's going to be a hybrid for all three people who want that in a Prelude. Obviously, no one wants that crap. Now, this comes to us thanks to Motor1.com, specifically over there, Adrian. He says, quote, "The 2026 Honda Prelude's interior looks familiar. It's a mix between the Civic and Integra, which, I mean, the Integra is just a copy of the Civic with just more luxury horsepower and slightly different styling and a little bit more leather. And here you can see it looks like it has the exact same steering wheel, which is a little disappointing for a sportier car. I mean, don't get me wrong. I roasted General Motors when they had that same wheel in the Chevy Malibu as a Corvette. And that's the epitome of pinching pennies. And here you can see it has the same design. I mean, I understand why they might have some of the same design aesthetics. So they have the similar design in terms of the, the cliche. And I was about to say the cold air intake. It's a hybrid, probably won't even have that. But it has the same heating and cooling air vent design, same buttons. The navigation screen is still the same. A little disappointed the navigation screen is also not tilted towards you. Again, it's supposed to be a driver's car. And it's still not angled towards you, like, a lot of iconic cars like the Corvette, the Supra. A lot of them tilt the infotainment and rather the special stuff towards the driver because it's supposed to be about the driving experience. So you could, put all your extra, the oil pressure, your turbo, all the extra stuff on there. But yeah, it looks like they're not paying too much attention in this case with the upcoming Honda Prelude, which, yeah, if I had money for an extra car, let's just say I would buy the original Prelude, which was an actual fun sports car with, a gas engine and a stick shift, as opposed to this abomination that will sell probably just as good as a Honda CR-V, the Z. Yeah, it's so, I mean, you see one on the road every couple of months, maybe, but they made the same mistake. They go, okay, we're going to have a hybrid sports coupe, which again, 18 people want, which is why I suspect this will be doomed from the beginning. Maybe they'll surprise us and everyone will buy it. Probably not. But diving the articles, they say, quote, Honda took everyone by surprise in 2024 Japan Mobility Show with the return of the Prelude. The low-slung sports coupe had all windows blacked out to keep prying eyes from looking inside the cabin and being utterly disappointed. Well, I added that last part. After about a year and a half since the car's unexpected return, we can finally see the production intent interior. Predictably, the cabin looks instantly familiar. After all, it's a Civic coupe with more exciting name, which... yeah, the fact that they also killed the Civic Coupe is an abomination to Honda. The Gen 10 Honda Civic Si, which I love, and I guess the base Honda Civic as well. You had the option of getting the coupe. They got rid of that completely for the Civic, for the Generation 11. Ridiculous. Now they say, quote, no longer a concept, the Prelude has evolved into prototype status. Its dashboard takes after the Civic, which, the exact stupid infotainment, which, again, is probably cool. You can customize and throw the important things on there for the track. Although I doubt any of these will actually go to a track, nevertheless. They say, quote, the dashboard takes after the Civic, but without the continuous vent design, which I guess there is just solid space for the glove compartment on the passenger side, but the middle is exactly the same. I mean, the hazard light is precisely the same. Now, they say you could argue that it's more in common with the Acura Integra, which, again, Civic Si on steroids, or lipstick. Probably a better metaphor since I think it has less horsepower but tuned different. It's only about 3 or 4 horsepower less, but nevertheless, I'm getting ahead of myself. They say, quote, while those two have automatic gear levers that stick out from the center console, well, they also have the stick shift too if you want to actually drive it as intended. The new Prelude has buttons instead. Sadly, the manual gearbox is not available because they want to lose money on this. Okay, I did that last part. But how boring is that center console? You get, it's almost as bad as a Ford, or a Dodge for that matter. In Dodge, the dumbest thing I ever did was a gear selector that was like a knob, like a radio. I don't know who designed that. They should be fired from their job, obviously. But this has a couple buttons. You got the park button and a neutral button. And yeah, it's basically your window. The buttons that you have for your window, that's how you're going to select your drivetrain. Again, I don't know who the prospective buyer is for this car. It's going to be a sporty hybrid. Yeah. They say, quote, speaking of buttons, press S plus to enable the sharper simulated shifts. And feel your soul die inside because it's not actually shifting. You don't get to have that fun with the third pedal. Again, I added that part, but they say, quote, an 8-speed transmission. Drivers can even use paddle shifters, akin to the Hyundai iconic 5N's artificial gearbox, but only this time there's an actual gas engine, so I guess it's slightly better in that regard, though still hybrid. According to Honda, the S shift precisely controls to the engine RPM, acceleration, and deceleration to realize the direct drive response and sharper gear shift. Oh, and make fake sounds pumped through the speakers are also at the menu. Japanese YouTuber also take a closer look, so jump over here really quick. This, I believe, is one of the Honda showrooms. Oh, it looks exact. Yeah, it's funny. He looks at the the visor, which, again, I don't give a again, I understand for these cars, it's such a specialty thing. It's gonna be low volume. I understand why you're gonna have some parts sharing between your vehicles, but to the extent they're doing with this one, it is so ridiculous. Again, the exterior actually looks okay. But yeah, once you go inside, it goes, oh yeah, it's just like the Civic. And it's actually worse than Civic because it's a hybrid with no option for a stick shift. The only thing good is that this has 2 doors, which looks sportier. It does look sportier, I'll give them that much. Then they say, quote, behind the quarter glass B-pillars are tiny hooks to hang your clothes. We also notice 2 integrated rear headrests and a small storage area between the rear seats. If you need that middle seat, an Integra could be a better option. The 2-tone upholstery does spice up the familiar cabin and does a Prelude embroidery on the front headrest. Oh, it's got Prelude embroidery. Whoa. Again, a true enthusiast is not going to give a damn about that. They're going to care about the lack of stick shift and real horsepower. Now, they note that they're going to have some part sharing between the Civic, and they do note they'll have a slightly wider, stance and a little bit of extra things. They say that, quote, it borrows the Civic Type R's adaptive dampers and dual axis steering front suspension. There's also a GT mode to nicely balance usual cover and sport modes. Although we see the Prelude with the steering wheel on the wrong side, well, because it's in Japan, the car won't only be for the JDM market. Honda intends to bring the hybrid coupe to the United States at the end of 2025. They say Europeans will also have to wait until early next year, which, again, I'm not sure how many people are waiting for this. If I had the money for a new car and it was going to be a sportier but still economical car, I would get the Civic Si. Because, again, that comes with a stick shift and a real engine. It'll last a quarter of a century or longer. As opposed to this abomination, good luck replacing those batteries in 5 to 10 years for probably half, if not more than the full, if not 70% of the vehicle cost. So perhaps this should be in the business blunder section of the show, but nevertheless, it's been advanced to prototype status, and it looks like they're actually going to make this. And I can't help but think it'll be just as successful as the Honda CR-Z, which, again, only a couple enthusiasts remember, and was really mediocre to say at least in terms of the success. There's a reason they don't make it anymore. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the Cultural Pod podcast, you have Democrats raging that they're against deporting folks, even if they're gang members, which, yeah, that's on track. Sounds about right. Now, this comes with thanks to End Wokeness. It's a click from MSNBC, and he says, quote, Elie Mystal has a quote about the gang members you will find interesting. And while mentally vacuous, at least he did suit up for the occasion. And I always say men look best when we suit up, obviously. So at least he did one thing right today. Short list, but he did one thing. Although perhaps it's only about 14 seconds, perhaps he'll give us an eloquent response as to why we should be upset that gang members being deported. Well, absolutely not, but we'll hear what he has to say.
About their status. About their status. And just to slightly push back on Mark, even if you tell me that, and you prove that they're gang members, I'm not so sure that I'm okay with them being sent off to be tortured in a foreign country, but I'll leave that aside.
Tortured? They're being sent to El Salvador and other places where they came from, and the criminals are being sent to prisons in their home country. Their own laws are how they're treated, but yeah, you don't want them to be, you want them to stay here? Really? Not surprised. Got about 500,000 views and 5.9 thousand likes. One of the first comments is Clown World saying 99% of Democrats are insane. Getting 1.4 thousand likes, which, again, if you break the laws to get here and they continue to break the laws and are in a gang, he's like, oh no, it blows my mind how mentally vacuous some of these people are. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, that's what all typical traders would say, getting 498 likes. Paul Zazupa says, quote, there's no reasoning with Democrats like Elie Mystal. They just don't care about what happens to Americans, getting 331 likes. Base Electrician says, quote, even if Eli is not a gang member, I still support shipping him to a foreign country. There's a screenshot of him looking funny, getting 32 likes. I also have Gunther Eagleman saying, quote, Democrats are un-American, getting 371 likes. I Love American News says, deport every illegal. All that has to be proven is that they're here illegally. And unfortunately, it just looks like a screenshot from the TikTok or from some social media. There's no actual source noted. So take it with a grain of salt, but it's a map of the United States and it says amount of people eligible for mass deportation. And again, it looks like California has 2 million, Texas has 1.7, 5,000 in Alaska, which I was going to say, that would be a fascinating statistic. How many illegal aliens are there in Alaska? I mean, of all the illegal aliens that have determination, I'd give them some kudos. Be like, you went to Alaska? Well, you got to be tough as nails to do that. Although you still broke the law, so back to Mexico or wherever you came from. That might be cruel and unusual punishment. That's an interesting thing, statistically speaking. A lot of people think, it's Mexico. It's actually countries across the globe coming from the Mexican border. The actual percentages of folks from Mexico has actually decreased throughout the years, I believe. It's actually quite interesting phenomenon. I got 228 likes. Mr. Pitbull says, quote, guide for destroying the West. It says, convince women to hate men, convince men to hate themselves, convince minorities to hate whites, convince whites to hate themselves, convince the young to be LGBTQIA+, convince the old that they are backward. Only takes one generation if done correctly. Getting 165 likes. Stanley Burnfield says, yep, keep defending gangs of illegal, violent criminals. There's a screenshot from a CNN and it says, voters view of Democrats in what? I say in country, the guy's had his blocking last part. It says lowest approval rating in ever Quinnipiac polling. Yeah. 68% of all voters disapprove of Democrats. 21% approve, which I would love to know the reasoning why they do approve. And even in the Democrat Party, 49% Democrats don't approve. So, yeah, the party's in disarray, but again, they're still winning some areas, statistically speaking, in terms of judges and Supreme Court nominees. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually changed any of their approach. But yeah, a lot of people are mentioning in the comment section they refuse to deport people who abuse women and people who abuse children. And 158 Democrats voted against that that bill that would have immediately deported those people. That got 157 likes. A lot of people are just screenshotting the guy and adding a little speech bubble saying he's retarded. But yeah, I was going to say, maybe he's, who knows, he might be an upcoming future politician. In these days, the bar's pretty low. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Texas making March 23rd Pakistan Day for reasons. Can't think of any good ones, but we did it. Unfortunately, I'm one of those folks who I don't really think we should have all these days on the calendar that really don't add any value. I mean, I would be down for supporting things like the founding fathers and historical moments that built our country, but I don't know how Pakistan Day does anything. I mean, my family came from Cuba. There's no way we would celebrate a Cuban Day or Cuba Day. I mean, that place is a hellhole. The Fidels, the Castros destroyed it. There's a reason everyone leaves Cuba when they have the opportunity, just like many of these other countries. Now, this comes to us thanks to Derek Evans on X. And he says, quote, just in, Texas passed a resolution declaring March 23rd as Pakistan Day. We now have an official Pakistan Day in America. Texas is also allowing a Muslim-only community called Ep.560 to be built. I believe that's 400 acres. I went digging that story and followed up in a little while. I believe probably Monday would get a chance to it. And it's about 13 seconds long, so not too... This is Representative Solomon Lalani, L-A-L-A-N-I, from District 76.
And consider H.R. 32. Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair is none. The rules are suspended. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 32 by Lalani recognizing Pakistan Day at the state capitol.
And consider H.R.
Not a single person opposed it, really?
32. Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair is none. The rules are suspended. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 32 by Lalani.
Had a big hammer, too. And this did not go as far as I thought it would. It got about 580,000 views and 2.3 thousand likes. And again, I don't see how it, I mean, it's not a historical day in Texas. Why are we getting a day for that? I know the demographics rather are shifting in the United States and Texas, but a day just to celebrate another country? Like, why? Are they a top 10 trading partner, Texas? Do we do a lot of business with Pakistan or share a lot of cultural things in common with them? Last time I checked, no. Although, let's ask them internet, or more accurately, Grok on, X.com or formerly Twitter. Who are Pakistan's top 10 trading partners? Maybe there are, I mean, for all I know, maybe we're the number one partner. We do a lot of business with them, a lot of shared values. Obviously not. Let's see. The number one is China. The United States is 1, 2, 3, or 5. We are in there, though. I'm surprised. Textiles and apparel. I forgot about the Nike. I forgot about that. So we actually, I'll be damned. Let it be said, I've never self-corrected or admitted fault. I was wrong. We are in their top 10. But do they buy from us? What goods I'm curious. What goods does Pakistan... I think I do remember Kitchen Towel from 10 years ago. They had their country name on it. But what do we buy from? Maybe, I'm guessing maybe they buy grain from us? Close, cotton. I'll be damned. So maybe that's why they thought it'd be important to have a day for them. I would have never saw that coming. Learn something new every day, some say. Now, going to the comments, one of the first ones is Chile, C-H-E-L-L-E. She says, quote, this is the most un-American thing I've ever heard of. Ever seen Texas do, WTF, game 1,000 likes. That's quite a few. Yeah, line up and wait, saying, quote, America is under invasion and our politicians are holding open the doors. There's a AI-generated image of Chuck Schumer opening doors, getting 233 likes. Nana Banana. Although it's a picture of a dog, so I'm not sure if it's really a banana. Nevertheless, this alleged banana says, quote, Texas is flooded with mosque. And there's a picture of, well, that's Houston. Well, obviously, city in Texas, but I'm a little disappointed it's not an entire map of Texas. Nevertheless, it just is a map of Houston that shows, geez Louise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, well over 20 mosques in Houston. Getting 130 likes, which is quite a few to say the least. I don't want to say the Vatican is lazy, but what's up with the Catholic community? Shouldn't we have more than that? Maybe they do. That got 130 likes. JC says, who needs a Trojan horse? And says, knock, knock, we're your new neighbors. Is I have no idea. I'm guessing they're from Middle East. They have a Pakistani flag on their lapel, so can't tell for sure. It says, we're your new neighbors. And they're yelling with a knife, which, I mean, shoot, Australians. I mean, when I think of like a big knife, I mean, I think of the Australians. That's a knife. Steve Irwin, I think. Nevertheless, he has a knife as well, getting 23 likes. Modern Day Criminal says, this is what happens when the government leaders don't do their jobs and it starts at the top. Hashtag tagging Governor Greg Abbott getting 70 likes. Nathan Kadinsky says, what day is the United States Day in Pakistan getting 59 likes? Fair question. Let's see. Miguel Francis Carlito Cartoons. Extremely long profile name, but A+ marketing. They did in fact respond in a cartoon form. Says, quote, what's next? A Muslim honor killing day? And it's a guy and his dog, and there's a Muslim or a Muslim gentleman with the shirt on with their logo. It says, our cultures are so much alike. He says, sit girl, but it's a girl in the kebab, not kebab, in the shawl. She did sit though. And that got 5 likes. Ep.560 says, quote, hey Texans, I hate to inform you, all the sacrifices in 1836 at the Alamo are now for nothing, or not for naught. You've been conquered, getting 116 likes. Kerry Tompkins says, quote, what the hell is happening to Texas? Abbott needs to veto this, and communities built for only one religion are unconstitutional. Either you come to America and become American, or go back to where you came from. Getting 70 likes, which is an interesting thing. We do not see as much assimilation as we did earlier in the United States founding and building. I mean, now you see a lot of different flags. Like back in the day, everyone came here and unite under the United States flag because that's the purpose of the flag. Not so much these days, but yeah, pretty interesting. Although in terms of, how much of the impact this has on your life, spoiler alert, I don't think people in Texas are getting a day off because of this. So like, it's not a holiday, but it is yet another day on the calendar to have a name after something. So let me know in the comments. Do you think, I'm not sure what will happen in terms of, do you think this will get repealed? More often than not, just like when you lose rights, they really get them back. When they pass these types of days and honors, they usually don't go away. But let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, because it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now going over to the business blunder of the day of Hyundai canceling their iconic 3-year free maintenance plan. Now this comes to us thanks to thedrive.com, specifically Nico over there. It says, quote, Hyundai is killing its 3-year free maintenance plan. Since 2020, Hyundai customers have enjoyed one of the most generous free maintenance plans in the business upon buying the car new. Now it seems it's going away. And here you can see a Hyundai dealership with the Elantra, which I think they only make one stick shift these days, which kind of is disappointing. But nevertheless, they're doing, again, not financial advice, but I wish I bought their stock years ago because it's going up like a rocket. It is ridiculously successful and probably one of the best turnaround stories in automotive history, I would say, in terms of having a shitty reputation, a really crappy product when they originally started in the United States, and completely doing a 180 and becoming one of the most reliable, best built brands out there. That being said, I still love my Honda, but that's just me. Now, he says, quote, since 2020, Hyundai has had one of the most attractive selling points of any car brand. Free maintenance for 3 years or 36,000 miles, whichever came first. Not all maintenance was free, of course, but routine stuff like oil changes and tire rotations were on the house. These are sort of savings that steal customers away from rival brands. Unfortunately for Hyundai customers, though, that limited complimentary maintenance plan ends with 2026 models. Shared first by Cars Direct, Hyundai reportedly sent a service bulletin to dealerships sometime last week informing them of the upcoming changes. The note told dealers that free maintenance plans would be axed because, quote, the cost of the program grew to unsupportive levels. They say Hyundai PR hasn't responded to the driver's request for comment, but will update this story once we get one. However, the employee at the Hyundai dealer did confirm the validation of the bulletin in question. It is important to note that it is separate from the car's original manufacturer's warranty. This is just for routine maintenance, which, again, to me, what really put Hyundai on the map for most consumers in the United States, oh god, that's an ugly abomination of one of their SUVs on the screen. I apologize. I should put a visual disclaimer, but one of the best things that put them on the map ahead of, Honda and Toyota in terms of care, in terms of reliability, in terms of perception reliability, their warranty. It is bulletproof. It is, back when I was in the auto industry 10 plus years ago, even then, that would really put them on the map. Most car companies, GM, Ford, Honda, Toyota, and their mileage might be 30,000 mile warranty, 3-4 years. Even back 10 years ago, Hyundai, Kia, again, same company, their warranty was 10 years or 60,000 miles. That is the best and it is, statistically speaking, the best warranty for a vehicle, bar none. And I know people who bought those cars because of that warranty alone. Now, granted, again, that was for only the new car sale, but still. They also know that it's separate to note, this is separate from the iconic warranty that I just told you about, which that will remain on hand, which with EVs, I can't help but think it's going to cost them an arm and a leg in terms of having to replace those stupid batteries. But again, it's a good selling point. They note that the HCM program provided coverage for Hyundai vehicles models 2020 to 2025. As the program had matured, Hyundai had determined new approaches necessary and will not offer the HCE program for 2026 beyond. They're still debating, what's going to be the new program. Some are saying it's going to be a prepaid basic and prepaid schedule plan. The basic one would just handle oil changes and tire rotations, but the schedule option would cover all the car maintenance mentioned in the vehicle's owner's manual. Customers can still buy maintenance plans to span up to 8 years, but there's currently no word on the price, which, again, I understand that this is costing them money, obviously. But still, I mean, that was as silly as it sounds. When I was geez Louise, back in my day when I bought my first car, certified new, or sorry, for certified used Chevy Cruze, the stick shift, like all cars should have by default. One of the selling points, because I was bad at math and didn't realize it's not that big of a value, but it was emotionally selling point, was the fact that you got like, was it 6 or 8 oil changes for free with tire rotation. So again, Hyundai and Kia are not alone in having this throughout the years, but if you're, especially a young car buyer, you're not doing the statistical math on like how much does that really add in value. The mental, just being able to not worry about the vehicle for the warranty as well as the actual maintenance for a couple of years, that felt really good. That was a good emotional way to sell the vehicle. And I know a lot of sales reps love that because so many consumers and end users like that. And I can't help but think Hyundai should just increase the cost of the vehicle by, I mean, what would this realistically call them? Or cost them more accurately? Maybe a couple thousand? Because again, tire rotations, again, you're paying a mechanic much more than minimum wage, granted. But that is a pretty quick job you can do. And the oil, if you're buying in bulk, full synthetic, you have one standard for the entire company like most dealers do. I mean, with the labor, maybe 40 to 60 bucks a pop on average, I would say. I mean, shoot, when I get my oil changed, I hope to someday own a house, I can do it myself, but landlord doesn't like that. But nevertheless, when I do my oil changes, even if I go to the dealer, even then it's maybe 60 bucks. Now, granted, I have a small car, so it doesn't require a lot of oil, understandably, but it's one of those things where the cost to the manufacturer relative to the value to the end user, I mean, the cost is so little, I think. And I think it's going to be I mean, I know a lot, I can't help but think a lot of the Kia and Hyundai sales reps are going to be really disappointed that they don't have this additional widget or mechanism to incentivize people to buy the products. And I can't help but think Hyundai's just making a big mistake by not keeping it and just building it into the cost. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. But for now, I gotta say, Hyundai Kia getting rid of your great maintenance plan. Gotta say that it's certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I really appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.